All right, guys, it's Andy Elliott. Today, I got my man Victor in the house. Now, I want you to understand something, all right? Are you going to watch today for like entertainment, right? Like you just want to watch some stuff, you're bored, or do you actually want to get something out of this? Do me a favor. Grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. I promise you there'll be an idea on today's call or a mindset shift or a habit in which it'll change everything for you. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, a $10,000 idea, a $100,000 idea, maybe $1 million idea. Okay, in this 30-minute conversation. So let me introduce Victor. Victor, tell us who you are, how old you are, what you're doing now. Tell us where you started, and let's kick some ass.
Cool, man. Well, my name's Victor Rancor. I'm 34 years old, and I'm probably like most of you guys watching this, man. I had an entrepreneurial seizure, started my business a couple years ago, but it wasn't always like that, man. Fast forward to 10 years ago, I'm moving back from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm living out there doing oil changes for $6.75 an hour. I was down in the oil pit getting oil splattered in my face. Moved back home with my tail between my legs back to Huntington Beach, California. Moved back, have any idea what the hell I was going to do, man. I was bussing tables. I was working odd jobs. I even took one job doing sales, and that place ended up being raided by the FBI, so that was a whole different story. I got into construction, and then 8 years ago, I found like my passion. So I found an opportunity to answer the Craigslist ad, and I went in and they said that we're going to teach you how to do HVAC. We're going to pay you 60 grand a year. We're going to give you a truck. I went in and they showed me the pay plan. And I quickly realized like I'm not going to be making 60 grand a year. So I still remember I called my wife and I said, hey, keep in mind, we're living in a room in a house, right? We got a 5-month-old baby. It's a party house. So that we have one room in this really, really rundown house. There's 3 other rooms that are rented out to a bunch of idiots partying all the time. And I'm trying to figure out a way to get out of it, man. And so that was 8 years ago in March. And now, since then, I became one of the top technicians in the country, quickly became the top sales guy in the HVAC space in the country. And then from there, I had an entrepreneurial seizure 4 years ago and started a company out in California called Absolute Airflow. Started with 10 grand, literally had no idea how to run a business, never ran a business, didn't even have a contractor's license, launched that business. And then in the last 4.5 years, we went from $0 to $65 million in revenue, and we just exited last week for 8 figures.
Yeah, so do me a favor, write this down. No risk, no story. It's this simple, right? Like if you're not going to take a risk, you don't freaking deserve the story, okay? And in the time when he was in the house and he's in this party house and he's got his kid and he's got his wife and there's a $60,000 a year job, there was no story, okay? That was all going to be made by his hustle, by how hungry he was. And by the way, this man wasn't hungry, he was starving, okay? So why don't you rate yourself? Are you hungry? Do you understand and realize that opportunities can take you very far? And by the way, you can't ask for a better opportunity if you're not currently crushing it with the opportunity you have. Victor had a $60,000 a year opportunity. A lot of people go, oh, shoot, I wouldn't have taken that. Dude, had he not taken that and kicked ass, he wouldn't be where he is right now. So I think a lot of people are wanting more, but they're not doing anything with what they currently have. He took a $60,000 a year deal, saw that there was an opportunity. If he produced really high, if he brought more value to the company, he could make more money, right?
Yes, sir.
So notice he said he became one of the number one salespeople in the HVAC space, okay, which is the HVAC space. Now look, he never had any dreams of becoming an HVAC salesperson. What he learned is that HVAC brought a service to somebody. He learned that he could help people get really good at communicating to people why they would need his HVAC work, and it paid him a lot of money. And then he taught other people how to do it, and then he built a team. He opened his own company, and then he had what was called an acquisition. He ended up selling it. Now listen to me. He's going to continue to go through life, but I want you to understand this. What victimhood bullshit are you telling yourself right now why you can't get it? Go back 10 years ago, and if you sat in shit where he was, you probably would have a bad perspective, but he had a good one, okay? So until you change your perspective in life, nothing's going to change. Tell us, why did your perspective change? How did you get it to change? Was your family your why? Was you wanting to prove everybody wrong? Were you finally ready to make some real money and you wanted to wake up, right? Like, what's going on? Talk to us about that, because what about some people that are sitting there that want to go to the next level and they're like, well, damn, man, how did you get the mindset to even do that? And, like, how did you take yourself from here to here? Because when you're talking about these big numbers here, right? Sorry to keep talking here, but look, if you're talking about all these big numbers and they're here and they have nothing, the distance between here and here seems really big.
I think the big thing is like finding somewhere that has the proper earning potential, right? Like a lot of you guys are sitting in a job right now that doesn't have an earning potential. Like Andy says, like what's the top guy making in your seat, right? Like
Yeah, so write that down. What's the top 1%er in your space earn right now? Just write that down. So as he's talking, you can write down how much you make now. And look, is there a big gap? Right? Like if you're earning 120 grand and the top guy in your space makes 200 grand, well, you have 80 grand more to make, right? So just look at the level 10 earning opportunity. You have a level 2, level 5, level 10, right? So that's what he means. How much could you make if you were the best?
And I think, obviously I started out just like every other technician there, right? Everybody had the same opportunity as me, but I saw it as they wanted to be a technician. I said, I want to be the best technician possible. I became the best very quickly, but I didn't hang out with the 99% of dudes. I hung out with the best of the best. And like Andy talks all the time, like I didn't go home and just shut off and say, I'm gonna go have some beers with my friends. Dude, I was relentless. Dude, I was watching every YouTube video, watching every training I could. I was literally practicing on my dog, my daughter, anybody, trying to become the best of the best. And I didn't fuck around with anybody at work. Like if you were not the top guy, I didn't talk to you at work. I didn't want to hang out with you. I didn't want to be part of what you're doing. I wanted to figure out who the best was and put myself in the room with the best guys and figure out what they did. And I think that's...
Yeah, so write this down. It pays differently to be the best. Just write that down, because if you're currently not earning what you want to earn, well, maybe you're not the best. So it pays differently to be the best. Now, he did audit the people he hung out with, right? So why don't you write that down? Audit the people you hang out with, and then audit the places you probably went too, right?
I didn't go anywhere unless it got me where I wanted to go.
Yeah, and by the way, look, hey, what you do in the dark when no one's around is who you become. And repetition's the mother of skill. So he just said he practiced on his dog, his daughter, his wife, anybody in the world that will listen to him. If nobody's around, he did it in the mirror. Also, he said he went home, he watched YouTube videos, he studied, he bought courses. Anything and everything that he could get in proximity of the right people or get his hands on the right content and knowledge, it made him better so he could get paid differently.
You got to think about everything in life. It's R&D, right? Like nothing is going to be, no one's reinventing the wheel anymore, dude. It's all about R&D, rob and duplicate. Figure out what the hell they're doing, figure out how you can make it a little bit better, and then roll with it, right? So I always tell people when you go to a training, you don't need to remember everything Andy says. You don't need to remember everything that I say. You just need to take bits and pieces out of everything, make it your own. Now it becomes your training, right? Like if you pay for a training and that guy gives you that knowledge, that's now your knowledge. You don't have to give it back to him. You own that shit. And that's one of the biggest things I try to get guys to understand is you do not need to remember everything that I say. Just remember little pieces that you can implement immediately.
Yeah, and if it took him 10 years, right? Let's just say, right? So follow me here. If it took him 10 years and he's having a 30-minute podcast, 10 years to learn everything that he knows now, dude, there's 365 days in a year times 10. That's a lot of time. If you're intentionally listening right now, dude, literally, that's the shortcut. Everybody always says there's no shortcut, and I believe it. There is a shortcut. It's by consciously paying attention and, like you said, emulate, rob, steal, take, borrow, whatever the hell you want to call it, what other people have done, take how they did it, and now you can own that in skill stack. So everything that he's saying, like guys, listen, this is how you do it. You don't have to go trial and error this shit on your own for 10 years. You just get around people who've done it, and now you can do it quicker.
It's all about condensing time, right? And I talk to people all the time and entrepreneurs. I'm like, dude, you can go hammer your head against a wall all day long. And I do business coaching now, and I'm just like, dude, you can go figure it out on your own. I figured it out on my own. It cost me millions of dollars. Or you can actually condense time, figure out what the hell that guy did, how he got there, and ask him, right? Like the biggest thing that most of us make is our ego, right? Our ego gets in our way. Entrepreneurs, we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to reach out. We don't want to go to training. We can figure it out ourselves, right? For me, I don't want to figure out anything myself. Fuck that. Like that already costs way too much money. I want to figure out how do I get there as quickly as possible so I can get to the maximum earning potential and then get to the next level.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Andy. A lot of you leave comments telling me that you need help. Do me a favor. I'm going to tell you the best way to get a hold of me. Shoot me a text message right now, 918-210-0254. 918-210-0254. I'll help you with whatever you need. I got your back for life. Let's get back to the video. Yeah, and guys, listen to me. Is it really hard? No. It's really pretty easy, right? And all you have to do is wake up. Plus, I want to say something. It's 2023 at the time we're shooting this, right?
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, you didn't have all the coaching going on like we have today. Like we are truly in an era and time in which if I was 18 years old, I could probably do from 18 to 20 what would probably have taken me 20 years because of the availability of knowledge that we have now.
I feel like back then, a lot of people didn't want to share their knowledge, right? There was a lot
Everybody's
of hoarders.
afraid you're going to take them out if they told you.
There was a lot of hoarders, right? And I feel like nowadays everybody's so open with their knowledge, and I think it gives everybody so much opportunity that they just wasn't there.
Dude, my managers used to tell me, if I tell you how to close this deal, well, how am I going to keep my job, dummy? Okay, so you just shut your mouth, sit down, I'll go close your deal. And literally they had a fear of us salespeople taking their jobs. Crazy, isn't it?
It's nuts.
But now people teach everything, and however, with all the information and all the knowledge and all the expertise, right? Dude, like nobody even does it.
I think that's the funniest thing is like I find that almost everybody that comes to my training comes back over and over and over again. I'm like, why are you coming to the same training? You come to my next training, step up. Why are you back here in that same position? I think it's one of the biggest things, keys to success is how fast you can implement, right? I could teach you everything, but it takes you 6 months to implement, then you're never going to get anywhere. So it's one of those things, if you're watching this or listening to this, right? Take the information, write it down, implement it as fast as possible because that's who's going to be successful. I didn't want to take 20 years. I wanted to take 5 years. And that's kind of how I was able to do it is implement as fast as possible.
Yeah, so write this down. Write down speed. It's just the word. That's the word. That's what he just said, okay? Is speed. S-P-E-E-D. How freaking fast can you go from the idea to taking action? When somebody tells you what to do, are we going to be like, oh, dude, hey, you know what? What is today? Thursday? Oh, cool. Hey, we'll start it Monday. No, dude. You start it right now, dumbass. You do it immediately. And that's what winners do. Winners don't need any more time wasted. Once they find out what's good, you tasted what's good, you tasted what's bad. He's telling you what to do, you attack. That's what we do. And by the way, that's why we even do these podcasts. Because I want to tell you, when he's here and he's talking, we're in Scottsdale, Arizona. That's where I live. He flew in. You live in California?
Yeah.
Yeah, in California. He's flew in and he's wanting to share some information with our viewers so that you guys can say, hey, man, you know what? Why ain't I exiting for a deal like that? Why am I not the top number one person? Hey, listen, use your ears, okay? Shut your mouth for a minute. Listen, I'm not being negative to you. Listen with your ears, and I promise you something magical is going to happen. You're going to recreate yourself. The Victor Rancourt 10 years ago that was sitting in the party house with the kid, sitting with the wife, that dude didn't go kill it. It was a new dude that he created that went and did all the killing,
and
right?
It's every step of the way, right? You have to evolve all the time. Like, I'm a different guy than I was last year, and if you're the same
You're
guy
a different
this
guy
year,
than you were yesterday.
dude, 100%. And
Yeah.
a lot of guys, they keep doing the same shit over and over again, man. Like, why would you keep doing the same thing that's not working? Why are you not going where you want to go? If you can't get there, if it took you an extra month to get there, like, why are you going to keep doing that? I always try to evolve every day. That's why I get around you guys. Like, I get around you. I get around, Bradley. I get around these other guys because I'm like, dude, those guys are doing badass shit. I want to figure out what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, so write this down. Do more of it or do something different, okay? Some of you guys, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, like, truly, you just need to do something different, okay? Like, if you're a communicator, if you're a closer, if you talk to people, like, if you're not really good at speaking, like, you need to do stuff differently. Like, you need to learn some new language, okay? Like, we need to get you a new mouthpiece. By the way, all that's really easy. You just get around people that got great mouthpieces. They teach you how to talk. You learn that stuff. Now you're a new you, okay? Or you need to do more of it. Okay, like sometimes, like with social media, when I was doing it and building my brand, I wasn't doing enough of it. And by the way, dude, it takes a lot of time. And I was like, damn, man, I'm not getting the impact that I want. And the guy's like, hey, maybe you're underestimating the amount of effort it's going to take to build a brand. I'm like, damn, well, what does that mean? He's like, do more. I'm like, how much more? Hey, write this down. What's it going to cost? More than you want to pay. Everything you want is going to cost you more than you want to pay. You know what that means? You're not going to be comfortable with it. It's going to require you to stretch yourself. You're going to have to give more. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to get tired. You're going to have test days. You're going to get broke down. But you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to quit. And you're not going to whine about it. You can be a warrior or you can be a freaking whiner. Okay, and most people, they sit around and whine to people, oh man, I'm doing all this. Shut your mouth, man. Enjoy the freaking journey. Okay, I promise you, if we went through his last 10 years, he's had more bad days than good days. But you know what? Because he wasn't sitting in shit in his old life and he was changing, the journey was beautiful. The chase was fun.
And a lot of times you guys are going through the journey, you got to make sure to enjoy it too. But I think it's funny you say that. So like 9 months ago, my big following was on Facebook. I shared my entire story when I grew my business. I shared with everybody. And I remember people laughing at me. Why is he posting these videos? He looks like a fucking idiot. Like, you know, he's embarrassing our industry, blah, blah, blah. Now those same guys are buying our courses. But I remember 9 months ago, I'm on Brad's podcast. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking about how good I am on Facebook and I'm dominating. I got this Facebook group. We're making money. He's like, you're not doing TikTok or Instagram. What the hell are you doing? And I'm like, you're right. Like, I'm just being a lazy ass. So I went home immediately. Boom. We started posting on social media, started posting on TikTok and Instagram. And then next thing I know, I got 150,000 followers on TikTok. Now I'm getting all these sales off of Instagram. I was being a lazy ass, but I didn't even realize there was a whole other side of it and how easy it was to go get the money. It's just me being lazy didn't go get it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And you know what? Guys, it's really not difficult, okay? We're really in an era in 2023 where we're in the era of the worst leader in the history of time. We're in the era of the worst salesman in the history of time. We're in the era since when COVID hit and everybody had to wear a mask and stand 6 feet apart. People really forgot how to communicate. They don't communicate. You know what? Kindness is something, and love that we don't see in the world anymore. If you'll learn with the Elliott Group, especially with Victor and them, you know, love don't lie. They love people, so we tell them the truth, but we love people. We're always kind. I'm really direct sometimes. People are like, oh, dude, you're a dick. I'm not a dick. You know what I am? I'm telling people the truth. I'm telling people what everyone's thinking, but no one's saying, because I have the courage to do it. But if I can say it and use my heart when I say it, then people will respect me. It's when I don't use my heart that people won't respect me. I want to tell you this. I've learned something this last year. Kindness is the most important thing that you'll ever give in your life. And by the way, the reason why a lot of people aren't kind is because they don't get something immediately returned. Kindness will pay 5 times, 10 times, 15 times, or even 100 times fold. That it isn't like I give kindness and then something gets back to me. I give kindness. That's not the end. That's the beginning of a very long relationship with somebody. And that person will come back around and it will pay out multiples from my kindness. So just take that. If you're in business, when people are around you, they won't always remember what you said, but they always remember the way you made them feel. Okay, so just take that, and if you can take just one little gold nugget right there, that's $1 million a year added to your business for your whole company being kind to everybody and you. Even if it's at the gas station, dude, you have no idea. In 2 years from now, that guy's like, you know what, man, I remembered you at the gas station. Yeah, dude, you were super freaking nice. It pays.
And I think even like when you think about it, like when you start out a business, I think a lot of the times we're so worried about, because you come from a employee mindset where you're like, you want to get paid for everything you do, right? Like instantly, I want to get paid next week. I want to get paid next week. And you go to be an entrepreneur. So many guys are so scared to do shit for free. And I do stuff for free all the time. I don't care what it is. And I tell this story. I had this guy at Manual. So this is 3 years ago. The guy came to he wanted to come to one of my trainings. He reached out to me in my DMs. He said, hey, I really can't afford it. I want to come. I said, I got your plane, I got your hotel, get your ass out to my building, right? This guy was making, I think he was doing $350,000 a year. And he came to this training, he came there, he put his head down, he worked the entire time. Him and his brother came, and his brother actually passed away from COVID, which was, pretty messed up. But he reached out to me, and I started talking to him. I said, your brother passed away. So I sent him $5,000 for his family. I said, hey, take care of his family. Didn't think anything of it. A couple years later, Emmanuel shows up at one of my events. He now has a $10 million business. He's hyper successful. And now he's one of my top customers. He's buying all my training. He's coming to all my courses. He's coming. And now he's just a friend of mine, right? And you don't really think about those little things along the way and how impactful you can be on someone's life.
Yeah, that's it, man. Look, hey, what's the price going to cost? More than you want to pay. And by the way, if you want people to pay all the money or do a lot of business with you, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to give first, right? And we're in an era where a lot of people don't give first. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? Number one, I think the last couple of years were pretty good to businesses, right? And I think that, they were easy, right? And easy times make weak people. And I think what happened is the market was 3 times better than it had ever been, ever. And what happened is people thought they got 3 times better. But now that the market's starting to level out, everybody's starting to question what's going on, what's this, and guess what they're doing? Now they don't know how to communicate because of COVID. Now egos are getting in the way, and you got this big mess everywhere. So what you do right now is you go back to the drawing board. If you have a team, motivate them, inspire them, be the spirit, be the leader, leaders self-lead. And guess what, man? You will create and build a business, which almost like how COVID built great, beautiful businesses, right? You'll build a business while everybody's complaining and whining and their eyes see what's wrong. You can see what's right. I think you guys can build an empire these next 3 years.
You got to expand when everybody else is contracting, right? And because it's been so easy, now all of a sudden people get smacked in the mouth and they're struggling. And I run across all the time those same guys that were pounding their chests on the internet, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I want to sell my business. I want out. I want this. And I'm going to the same guys that were talking shit years ago. Now I'm coming in buying their businesses or acquiring them because they're so scared, right? The only reason they're scared is because they didn't put the energy and effort in while everybody else while it was easy, they weren't practicing. They weren't sharpening their sword every day. They weren't getting better. They were just going through the motions, right? And if you keep going through the motions, you're going to end up finding yourself out of business.
Yeah, that's it. And by the way, listen, I'm telling you when I say this to you guys, right? Anybody right now in your life that you look up to, okay? I guarantee those people that you look up to, they're not perfect. I want to just say this, okay? So a lot of people can't advance forward because they feel like they're unworthy to build something great, right?
Yeah.
Like the life you have right now, if you look at it and you literally put it on paper and you say, oh my God, see what I have? dude, there's no way that you ever imagined that you could have this life. But somewhere along the way, as you trained, as you practiced, as you studied, as you invested in yourself, as you were good to people, as you gave first, you started to be better to you. And by the way, like, hey, a lot of people think this is corny shit, but that's the reason why you're not going to make it. I hear people all the time, they're like, is this just some mindset training today? Where's the closes? Dude, mindset is the most important thing, but those people will never, ever get it. Okay, they'll never get it. By the way, these people are everywhere, okay? But you got to be really good to yourself. Like a key along the way when these people hated, when you said you first got on Facebook,
Dude.
and a lot of people may have missed that. He told his story. He was trying to open up. He was trying to bring value to someone's life, saying, hey, maybe you're, thinking you're not worth it. You are, you're qualified. And they're like, dude, who's this idiot? Who's this jackass? And you know what? Dude, he's the one who made it. Those people were laughing at him. Now he's laughing on his way to the bank. Now, I want you to know this. During those times, how do you torture your haters? Well, it's easy. You be really good to you. Victor Rancor, he has a meeting with himself 24 hours a day about how he thinks, how he sees things, how he believes, what's going to happen next, right? And dude, if for 1 second Victor talks bad to himself about himself, he's out. So I just want to tell you, maybe some of you, that could be where you're going wrong, right? So again, these podcasts, I told you there's one idea, sometimes 15, but just one idea which can change your entire life.
You know, what's funny is, obviously I throw these big events now, and I still remember my first event. It was in my parking lot during COVID. Nobody else was having an event, and I'm looking around. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out a way to get around more people, right? And I remember I said, hey, I invited people. I said, hey, come out to my parking lot. I'm going to throw this big party. I spent like $20,000 I didn't really have at the time to, cater the thing, drinks. I put on stages. I had some, DJs and all this shit. And I couldn't afford it. I still remember sitting there, and I got 100 and something people show up in a fucking parking lot during COVID, right? I didn't realize that people were they're wound up in their house. They just wanted to get out and do something.
Yeah.
And I still remember sitting in that parking lot, and I said, hey, next year I'm going to sell out an event in Vegas with 500 people. And then sure enough, 12 months later, I got Grant Cardone sitting on a stage with me, and I'm just like, what in the fuck happened, right? And that's because I put it in my head that it's possible, right? And all of a sudden, and we made it happen. And then obviously last year, all of a sudden, Andy Elliott sitting at my stage. We had about 1,000 people in Vegas last year. And then this year, I'm like, dude, I'm going to get 2,000 people. People are like, you can't get 2,000 people to show up to an event. And I said, I don't know how I'm going to figure it out, but I'm going to figure it out. And I think it's one of those things that drives me. I feel like the 1%ers, right? We want people to tell us it ain't possible. There's no way. Like, you tell me it's not possible, I'll figure it the fuck out.
Yeah. Dude, but matter of fact, if you want me to go harder, just tell me I can't get it.
Oh.
That's my favorite thing. And by the way, my wife, I'll just share some stuff with you. She likes to toy with me, right? Like anytime I tell her, I'm like, hey, babe, I'm going to do this. She's like, oh, babe, come on, man. Dude, when I hear that shit, and she knows, she does believe in me. But when she says that to me, she knows it triggers this like wild animal inside of me. And by the way, listen to me. It's really easy, guys. There's 8 to 10 billion people in this world. Whatever product you sell, whatever event you want to put on, whatever you want, if there's 8 to 10 billion people, him throwing an event with 10,000 people is actually pretty easy. And I'm sure there's a lot of you right now that can look at Victor and you're like, you know what, Victor, hey, I'll go to that event. Hey, by the way, when's your event? When is it? And if somebody wanted to go to it, where do they go if they want to buy a ticket? This year, I know Rob Bailey's opening it. Is that right?
Yeah, right.
You guys know I love Rob Bailey. Secondly, I know Bradley's going to be there. Okay. I'm going to be there.
Got Tim Grover.
He's got Tim Grover going to be there, who wrote the book Relentless in Winning, Michael Jordan's coach, Kobe Bryant's coach, right? And I'm sure you're going to have a slew of other people there. Okay. And it's just all value. It's in Vegas. Or it's in Austin this year.
It's in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, it's in Austin, Texas this year. But by the way, I don't care where you are. You can buy yourself a $500-$600 plane flight and get your butt down there. What are the dates? And if they wanted to go, how would they come and be there with us?
So it's going to be September 27th through 29th. You're going to want to get in on the 27th.
Write that down. So 27th to 29th.
Rob Bailey's going to perform on the 27th. We've got a big welcome reception that's going to happen. He's going to be out there. You'll be able to meet him and everything like that. But it's going to be in Austin, Texas, September 27th through 29th. Go to events.callprofitrocket.com. That's events.callprofitrocket.com.
We'll put it on the screen. Say it one more time.
Events.callprofitrocket.com.
Events.callprofitrocket.com. We'll put it up on the screen so you guys see it. We'll be there. So if you were like, hey, man, I want to be with Andy, dude, come be there with us, okay? You'll meet my man Victor. You'll meet our team. It's going to be crazy. It's all about sales. It's all about marketing. It's all about mindset. It's all about growing, right?
Yeah, and the cool thing is you use promo code Elliott, you save a little bit of money too. So I just got that
There you
live
go.
for you
2
guys.
L's, 2 T's. Don't mess it up. Okay, type that in. Your boy give you a discount. Okay, but this is a cool event. 2,000 people, fire-breathing dragons, everybody wanting to win. Doesn't matter what space you're in, show up. I promise you'll get a lot of value out of it. And by the way, if somebody's watching this and you're like, well, I'm in this industry. Sometimes don't you guys ever wonder, like, what other opportunities exist? You know what I've learned? When I've gone to these sales conventions, sometimes I had no idea that some of these other people in these industries make the money they make. And by the way, maybe you sell couches, maybe you sell homes, maybe you sell cars, maybe you sell something and, you're maybe considering, haven't decided, but considering maybe making a change one day. When you go to these events, you start learning what people learn, how they do it. You learn about the business and you're like, damn, man, that opportunity exists. And then the right people are there. And who knows what happens?
Well, that's the same thing. I said, okay, well, if people are going to say, well, I'm not in that industry. I said, okay, well, get Tarek El Moussa is going to be there too. He's obviously in teaching how to buy homes
remember
during
the
a
guy
recession.
on Flip or Flop?
And I got
when we're kids, right? Or some of you guys weren't that old, but that dude's going to be there, Tarek.
and I just talked to Sam Taggart's going to be there too. So Door to Door Expert's going to be there too.
We'll bust his ass up on stage, right? So it's just a good chance for you to get around people and grow yourself. That's it, right? Like, look, I want you to write this down. The only way to wealth, which if you want to be wealthy, the only way to wealth is through self-education. So your goal is to get around people in which can educate you. So hell, I mean, I would pay an unlimited amount of money to get around Tim Grover. Hey, and you know what's crazy? This is what's crazy. Okay? Tell me something's impossible. Just tell me. Tell anything right now, no matter what it is, tell me it's impossible. The people that I once wanted to be like and wanted to be around, right? Like 3 years ago, back up just 3 years ago, I used to listen to Rob Bailey in the garage and I would work out like hell and I would be like, God, man, like this guy, like he was my mind. Well, he's my buddy now. I've got his number. I can call him right now. We're brothers. I remember David Goggins. I used to watch him and I'd be like, God, man, I want to be like Goggins. Dude, I can call David Goggins. Tim Grover. I remember, dude, Tim Grover. I read the book Relentless. It totally paradigm shift my life. Totally. I had to keep reading it because it was so deep in like badassness that I wasn't ready to read the book yet. So I had to read it again and read it again. And once I finally got the concept, like, dude, this guy just don't quit. This guy's got a mindset, which Kobe Bryant had the Mamba mentality, which was created by a badass coach like Tim Grover. I text Tim Grover weekly. How do these things happen? They happen because you decide to take action. You understand that your life is more valuable than you even understand. And you understand that your family and yourself is qualified for an amazing life. And how can you get all of this? It's simple. Bring value to other people and put yourself in location of people who are successful so they can help teach you and guide you. Because Victor right now, if you met him, he would be like, dude, I've got opportunity on opportunities on opportunities that I'd love to help you. When you get around the right people, they almost want you to have a better life than them. It's so crazy when you're around the right people that they want to share all the amazing things going on in their life that they never believed was possible, but now they know that's possible. And it's almost like you want them to have it now, right?
Well, I think the funny thing, Andy, is like I look back and everybody that I've invited to speak at my event was people I wanted to speak at my event and I had other people pay for it. So like I wanted people I wanted to get around. So last year I was, a couple months out from the event. I already had a badass lineup and I started reading Ed Milet's book. And when I read that book for the first time, like, I want to meet this dude. So I started reaching out. I reached out to Ryan Stewman. I'm like, hey, do you know Ed Milet? How do I get a hold of that guy? And everybody's like, why are you bringing Ed Milet? The event's we already got enough people. Everything's like, why are you throwing off the budget? I said, I want to meet Ed Milet. I've never met the dude. So I just paid for him to be on stage literally so I can meet him because I wanted to be around that guy because I wanted to be around that energy and see what he's about. And I wanted it in my life. So
yeah. And by the way, listen to me. Hey, what's it going to cost? More than you want to pay. It just goes back to every time. If you want to study and you want to be great and you want to overcome objections or you want to learn your script or you want to be better at speaking or if you stutter and you want to stop stuttering, what is it going to cost? More than you want to pay. You're literally going to have to talk, study, write shit down, and you're going to have to stay away from people that don't operate like that. Look, there's not many people that are going to operate like this in your life. So if you don't have any, well, then you can be with us and you need to start now. But if you can get in proximity, which today and age, 2023, like he said, he could pay Ed Milet to get close to him. Okay, dude, money is only good if used. Dude, putting money in the bank, inflation's going through the roof. So even if you had 50 grand right now, it's probably really worth about 46 grand because of inflation. So just keep it in the bank and don't do anything. But if you spent the 50,000 and you got close to Ed Milet, and Ed Milet taught you something that made you $1 million, well, 50,000 made you $950,000. That's how money works, right?
I mean, how much is going to cost you to be in the same exact position next year? Like I always tell people, like the longer you wait, right? So if you wait another month, how much is it going to cost you to wait another month and not be prepared, right? Another month without learning how to sell, what's that going to do to you? How much is it going to cost you to not learn how to sell over the next month?
Yeah,
the next
so he's
3
saying,
months?
what is it? It's not what it costs, it's what it costs you not to know. So remember how we wrote down, you talked about earning potential?
Yeah.
You wrote down how much money that you're currently making. You wrote down what the top 1% in your industry could earn. You see the gap? What you don't know is costing you not to earn that. So if you're earning 100,000 and somebody could make $1 million, you're costing yourself $900,000 a year to life because you don't know something that the guy that's making $1 million knows, right? So spending 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, or any amount, it's totally worth it.
I feel like anytime you've ever met anybody successful, you'll see how much money they spend. I have 3 different coaches that I pay thousands and thousands of dollars a year to be around, right? And then next year I'm going to get different coaches, and it's the same thing. It's like we can sit around, and like I said, how do you condense time, right? Well, you find people that are doing what you want to do, let them teach you, right? And it costs money. No one's going to go out of their way to teach you something unless, if I said, hey, Andy, I'm going to come out and hang out with me for free, I'm going to teach you everything I know, would you even show up?
No, and if I did, I wouldn't get anything out of it because it didn't cost me anything. Yeah, if you don't pay for it, so write this down. If I don't pay for it, I won't pay attention to it, okay? And by the way, if it really means something to you, okay, spend your money on it. And I'm going to explain why, okay? And then we'll kind of wind this down. Why I would spend my money on something is because whatever I spend my money, I'm going to get my money out of your ass because I spent my money with you, okay? Every year I go to the vault with Patrick Bet-David. Every year. I buy the CEO tickets. Hey, listen to me. We're killing it in business. It's unreal what's going on. But I've always enjoyed listening to Patrick's theory about life, about how he operates in business. At the vault, they talk about how to troubleshoot problems. Like if an employee did this, and this is weird, but they'll say if an employee did this, and he was a great employee, but he was making you all this money, but this happened, how would you troubleshoot it? And then literally everybody stops, they break into group sessions, and everybody talks, well, this is what I would do. That's what I would do. This is what I would do, right? Because that's a real life problem.
Yeah.
And then he comes back on, he goes, all right, what did you guys decide to do with Johnny? Dude, we're all sitting there 3 days straight as CEOs, business owners, operators. And finally, Patrick tells us, a lot of you played checkers. You got emotional. You were thinking about today. Nobody saw what could happen. There's 2 things that could happen. And dude, when he explains it, I'm like, damn it. Dude, that's so smart because I didn't think that way. Dude, that guy could have saved me a giant lawsuit. He could have saved me from letting go of a good employee that maybe I got emotional over. Like, dude, like just being in those rooms, and they cost $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 just in tickets to get there. Totally worth it. The more it costs you, the more you'll get out of it. Okay, I don't like cheap stuff. You guys don't like cheap stuff, so don't ever talk about cheap stuff. If somebody says you can go to an event and the tickets are $199, don't show up. Okay, I don't want $199 in value. I want stuff that's a minimum of $1,000 plus. That's the events that I'll go to. It's not even worth getting in a plane or traveling or leaving my job for anything that doesn't cost me at least $1,000. Hey, that's my perspective at least.
And it's the same way, man. Every time I've invested something, because everybody spent money that they already forgot about the next day, right? We go to a casino, we waste $1,000 in an hour, but when it takes $1,000 to go change my life, people are gonna freaking their hands start shaking and shit, and their hands start sweating. I can't believe I'm gonna spend $1,000. I'm like, dude, you'll spend $1,000 on a pair of fucking shoes. That isn't gonna get you anywhere. It's gonna be in a piece of trash next week. If I could take $1,000 and learn something I can use for the rest of my life, people start sweating. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and plus, I want to tell you one more thing. No matter what happens to the economy, okay, no matter if there's a recession ever or a market crash, no matter what happens, okay, when you know this information and you study, you have security inside of you because you're no longer common. You're actually uncommon amongst uncommon people. which it'll allow you to be able to do things that normal people can't do. So guys, obviously Victor's shared a lot. I kind of went back and forth with him a lot. I've known him for about 2 years now. He's an amazing guy. He's got a heart of gold. He loves people. No one you look up to is perfect. I promise you this. He's made bad mistakes. He's done bad things. I've done bad things. You know what we've learned? We've learned when you're in proximity to the right people, magical shit starts happening. We've learned when you take your brain, your mind, which God gave you, and you start studying and plugging into good stuff and feeding yourself good information, okay? Crazy stuff starts happening. This universe will give you whatever you want, Victor. You just can't quit, and you got to keep getting better. And by the way, bring value to those people around you. Give everybody massive amounts of love. I think it's really important to take care of your health, you know, to take care of your family, to never forget where you came from, right? So you stay grateful. And then just never forget that there's unlimited opportunity. There's no limits, there's no caps, there's no numbers. And if anybody's around you and they're telling you they're the wrong people, okay? So I hope a lot of you guys come to this event that obviously my man Victor is going to be at with us and my team. If you ever want to be Elliott Army, we're going to be out there. A bunch of other badasses. Also on top of that, you can look them up. Where can they find you on Instagram?
Victor, which is Victor _Rancor, RANCOUR. That's on Instagram or TikTok. Jump into Facebook if you're in the HVAC space or any home service space. I got Profit Rocket Home Service Group. It's a badass group. We share a bunch of free stuff, free information. We try to help each other out. So, I mean, find me online. Hopefully you guys come out to the event. And if you guys are listening, man, you might be in the same shoes as maybe Andy was or I was 8 years ago, man. I was driving a 92 fucking Honda Accord. It was my window was broken. Rain splattering me in the face on the way to this interview, and everything in my mind is saying, "Why am I even wasting my time going to this interview?" Just understand, there's always an opportunity out there, and at some point your life is going to change if you decide to change. And like I said, I'm glad I took that beat up car and drove it across town to go to that interview, because otherwise I wouldn't be where I'm at. So one little change can change your life.
Yeah. So quit saying you want to change and change. Victor, we appreciate you, brother. Much love. You guys kill it. Have a kick-ass day. Make sure you comment below. Tell us what your favorite thing is. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you're crazy. Okay, I know you guys do, but if you don't, official Andy Elliott. Okay, we love you guys. Kill it. And we'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed day. Hey guys, I just want to tell you, you're the true 1%ers. You made it till the end of the video. Do me a favor, share it with the friend that wants to go to another level. Make sure you like the video, comment below so I know who you are, set your notifications, and then subscribe to the channel. We got daily sales training videos dropping. I'll see you soon.